Yes. All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the General Government Appropriations Subcommittee. And I'd like to welcome you here today. Got a great crowd and got a good group of members here. So first on the agenda is going to be the Department of Banking and Finance. Commissioner Bo Fears, he's going to join us via Zoom. So
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Can y'all hear me?
we can.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present today, and also thank you for being so gracious as to permit me to appear via Zoom since I am at a conference. If it pleases the committee, what I will do is I'll simply touch on those items that are specific to the department and bypass those pass-through items. Looking at page 6, line 14.2.4 is the two MALPB examiner positions for the department. Those are merchant acquirer limited purpose banks. And these two spot positions were included in the amended fiscal year 26 budget. What the merchant acquirer limited purpose bank is, it is a novel charter. Georgia is the only one in the nation that has it. And we have so far have chartered 3 entities under it: Fiserv, Stripe, and Checkout.com. And we also have a pending application that we are working. And the merchant acquirer limited purpose bank, one of the requirements in the law is that you have to have a presence in the state of Georgia and 50 employees. And so Stripe and Checkout.com have located here in Georgia, and they're satisfying that 50 employee requirement. So it's a job creation bill. The second item is line 14.1.5, which is the licensing component of an item that was included in the amended fiscal year 26 budget for us as well, the Copilot purchase. And this will pay the licensing fee going forward, so we can utilize Copilot in FY27. And Copilot, the department's information, most of it's confidential, so we need to do something with Copilot where it's kind of limited, and it won't, to the extent it learns, it won't learn on what it's shared out publicly. So that data will be sort of maintained within the department. With that, if there's any questions, I would be happy to try to answer them. But otherwise, thank you for the opportunity to present for the committee.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any questions? I don't see any questions right now. Thank you for joining us, and hope you enjoy your meeting there.
Thank you, Chairman Yurt. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You as well. All right. Second on the agenda is the Department of Natural Resources. Commissioner Walter Raven. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be with you today to talk about fiscal year 27 budget. Let's see, if we will look on page 15 of your tracking sheet. First thing you'll see is each of our divisions' budgets reflect a change to the adjustments to agency premiums for the DOAS administered.
Be 16, page 16, correct? Copy. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Anyway, what you'll see is for each of our division budgets reflect the change to the adjustments to agency premiums for the DOAS administered insurance programs, as well as the GTA telecommunication and infrastructure rates and the employer contributions for the state health benefit plan. Under our coastal resources division, and I'm looking at line 34.1.4. This is the elimination of one-time funds for beach restoration in the amount of $1 million. These were pass-through funds in our FY26 budget. Line 34.1.5 removes $75,000 in one-time funds for equipment and vehicle costs, but it keeps the personnel services for the positions within this division for recreational fishing data collection. While the equipment for this program has been purchased, the positions retained allow us to take state level sampling approach for recreational data collection that will supplement and leverage the current data collection efforts and provide more precise estimates of marine recreational fishing effort, catch and discards that will help us in the management of state and federal species that are important to our saltwater anglers. Along these lines, I think I mentioned this the last time I was before you, but Georgia has submitted a federal exempted fishing permit request that would establish a 2-month recreational red snapper season in the federal waters off of our coast. I'm still waiting for feedback from the feds on that. Hopefully we'll know something by May 1st. Moving down to the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program. We have 2 budget items included here that increase funds for this critical conservation program. Line 34.4.1 restores the 20% reduction that we saw in the FY26 budget due to revenues on the sales and use tax collected on sporting goods equipment decreasing by more than 1% last year. More than $5.7 million are restored to the trust fund in the FY27 budget. And additionally, along those lines, line 34.4.2 shows a $4.9 million increase in funds to the program, which reflects an increase in the FY25 collections of sporting goods and sales and tax use. Moving to page, I think 16 or 17, under the Law Enforcement Division. Line 34.6.2 provides funds that would enhance the retirement benefits for select post-certified law enforcement officers. Moving to our Parks, Recreation, and Historic Sites Division on line 34.7.3. This would eliminate $7 million in one-time funding for outdoor recreation. These were passed through funds as well in the FY26 budget. And then line 34.7.4 also eliminates $300,000 that were one-time funds for the Sam Shortline Railroad. Moving on to our Wildlife Resources Division, line 34.9.4 shows an increase of funds of over $1 million for the Wildlife Endowment Trust Fund. This reflects the FY25 collections of our lifetime sportsman's license. And this number equals the exact number of the licenses that we sold. Lastly, on line 34.9.4, this is an increase of funds to the amount of $200,000 for operational costs at our fish hatcheries. I don't have to tell this committee how much the price of fish food, fertilizer, fuel has gone up tremendously. And then I would like to go through several FY27 bond-funded projects for DNR. The first item provides $4.94 million to fund replacement vehicles and emergency equipment. Of these funds, $1.25 million will go to EPD, and the other 4 divisions of DNR would retain $3.69 million. This will help us in the purchase of new vehicles, as well as 7 aerial ignition drones that will support our prescribed fire efforts within our WRD division. The second item provides $16.91 million to fund facility major improvements and renovations at DNR facilities statewide. $1.25 million of those dollars will go to EPD. The other 4 divisions would keep $15.66 million that will help with campground renovations, comfort station replacements, cottage renovations, visitor center construction, boat ramp repairs and maintenance, and then various other facilities within our WRD division. With that, that covers our FY27 request and our bond request.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Rayburn? Not much.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I just got a quick question. On some of the state parks and stuff, have you heard anything from Fort Mountain State Park? Have y'all got anything on it?
Specific to,
I think there was some parts of the road that did be repaved or something.
it is not on this list in this request.
That's fine.
No,
That's fine. I was just checking.
We
Thank
can
you.
reach out.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, can we roll into the GOSA?
Yes, sir.
Request?
That would be
That would
appropriate.
be great. Thank you, sir. As you know, the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program was approved overwhelmingly in 2018 and became active in 2019. This is a grant and loan program. It's the state's first dedicated funding mechanism that supports local parks and trails for nature-based recreation such as camping, fishing, hunting, boating, hiking, biking, and any other outdoor pursuit. It also provides funding for stewardship of conservation land, supports acquisition and the protection of lands that are critical to our wildlife, to clean water, and to buffering our military installations across the state. The trust fund is funded by the state portion of money received by the state from the sales and use tax that's collected on outdoor sporting goods equipment. That portion is 40% of the sales and use tax. The eligible applicants for this program include qualified local governments, constituted recreation authorities, state agencies, and non-governmental entities that have a primary concern for the protection and conservation of natural resources. Here's some really cool numbers. In the past 5 successful funding cycles, more than 142 million state dollars has been allocated to 74 conservation and outdoor recreation projects. The grantees of these 74 projects committed $237 million of their funding for a total investment for conservation in our state of $375 million in the last 5 budget cycles. That's pretty incredible. These funds have positively impacted 66 counties statewide that have assisted with the acquisition of more than 62,000 acres of land, the creation and improvement of many water trails, boating access, construction improvement of green trails, the addition and the rehabilitation of many campsites, reforestation and wildlife habitat, and stream bank restoration. For the cycle that we're here to speak of today, the pre-application period opened August 1st and closed October the 17th. This year's cycle saw 38 eligible submissions requesting more than $88 million. Projects were reviewed, scored, and ranked by our review team in November and December in accordance with the evaluation criteria that's been approved by the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund Board of Trustees. On January the 14th of this year, the Board of Trustees of the Outdoor Stewardship Fund met and approved a slate of projects that's before you today. And on January 31st, the slate of projects was approved by the Board of Natural Resources and transmitted to this committee for your approval. Again, I think you have that list, probably some maps in front of you as well. What you see in that slate of projects are 14 projects that total more than $33 million in funding. They will go to 8 local parks and trails of regional significance, 2 state land acquisition projects, and 4 state stewardship projects. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions, but would request the approval of this slate of projects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. It is great to see that increase in funds and great to see folks buying more sporting goods and just a fantastic program for the state of Georgia and our whole state. So appreciate that. And we do have some questions. Let's see. Chair Lady Smith.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your presentations today. So I was there when we had the debate over the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Act, and it was longly debated because I wanted to make sure there wasn't a negative impact on state funds. It was a constitutional amendment that had one of the highest votes we've ever had on a constitutional amendment. And what the GOSA Act has been able to do all around the state for these number of years is phenomenal. There's a huge investment on the part of our communities, and no request works if there's not active investment from the local governments. And so all the way around, it's a win-win. And my pitch here is when it's time for the next constitutional amendment, just know that Georgia has phenomenal natural resources available to everyone, and mainly thanks to the voters who feel that way about it. So, and by the way, I noticed a couple of applicants on here, Carroll County, and then also what was my other, anyway, I want to thank you for that. The Charleston, it's I don't think people really understand until they're involved in wanting something passionately for their community. And it's just like a win-win when it all comes together. So thank you for your administrators and the energy that y'all put into it.
Well, it is.
Is it not true?
That's very true. Thank you,
It's a
Chair Lady
great
Smith.
program that we are very proud to administer, and we are an applicant as well. And it's very neat to see all of the conservation efforts that take place in our state.
All right, we've got another question. Chairman Tarvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, you said, clarify what you said to me. You probably said it clear. I probably just didn't hear it clear.
I probably didn't. Go
No,
ahead.
I believe you did, but sales tax on sporting goods is 40% of what?
Of the sales tax that are collected on sporting goods and equipment.
40% of that goes to this, is what you were saying.
That is
Okay,
correct.
that's what I didn't understand. I
Yes, sir.
got you. Where does the 60% go?
To the general fund.
I was afraid of that.
Any further questions?
Good, I just didn't know.
I understand. I understand. All right, we got one more. Chair Lady Smith?
My question is, will this take a vote of the board?
Yes, ma'am.
So at the proper time, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, we got a motion. Do I hear a second? Got a second. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, that motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your being there with us.
All right.
All right, next on the agenda is State Ethics Commission, David Amati. Come on down.
This is the reverse dynamic I usually have with y'all. I'm in the hot seat this time. Mr. Chairman, thank you for having us here today. Not sure if it's page 12 or 2, depending on the tracking sheet, but it's line 11.6. In the FY budget, page 2. In the budget, we have 3 items notated. One, the first 2 are just reductions and increases in premiums to DOAS and the state health benefit plan that I think everyone has to some degree. The third on line 11.6.3 came out of a request to OPB for an additional attorney and trainer spot. This request flowed from Senate Bill 199 that we passed last year, which beginning in 2027 will return local filers at the city and county levels back to the Ethics Commission directly. We had seen a lot of issues over the years with the local clerks who worked for the people that were reporting to them and then transmitting that to us. There were a lot of conflicts and issues that I think we just got to a point that we all agreed, and ACCG and GMA and Gabrielle all supported moving that back to the Ethics Commission. But we do anticipate a significant increase in call volume and training and education that our office is going to have to do. So this would help us and allow us to do that. But I believe that's all we have new in the budget, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, how's the new filing system going?
Mercifully good. I think y'all might have run me out of town if it didn't go great, but we were very happy with it, and the feedback has been very positive.
Good, very good,
Yeah.
very good. We have one question. Let's see. Who was number
All the way
7?
down, yeah.
Oh,
All the way down.
Chairman
All
Prince.
the way on- all the way on the floor.
I have to look
And,
at the numbers in here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it's not, hey, thank you, Dave, for your request. And it's not so much, I guess, a question, but just clarification. So this, so basically you're gonna, I say your office, I guess, will handle ethics complaints, i.e. at the local level.
Yeah.
And we're talking governmental employees.
No, so currently We handle ethics complaints against local city and county elected officials.
Right.
As well as local lobbying, but those are filed directly with a city or county clerk.
Okay.
We're taking the filing responsibilities back from them. We remain the clearinghouse for any ethics complaints related to campaign, things like that. But for probably 15 years, those, maybe 10 years, something like that, those responsibilities flowed down to the city or county clerk that was appointed by the county chair or the mayor, et cetera.
Thank you. That's what I need to clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, Director. Appreciate you being
Thank
with
you.
us. All right, next on the agenda is Department of Labor. Commissioner Holmes, welcome.
It's fine. If you close them. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, come on now.
Hey.
Hi, how are you? Well, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I'm your Labor Commissioner, Barbara Bear Holmes, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. I want to point out we have full team membership here from our executive leadership team who are also delighted to be here.
Welcome.
So thank you for the opportunity to continue discussing the funded recommended for the Georgia Department of Labor for fiscal year 2027. And on behalf of our entire team, I thank you for your partnership and for the state funding you've entrusted to our agency, because that support allows us to deliver mission critical services to the Georgians who need them most. That investment, as you've heard, is powering the largest unemployment insurance modernization in state history, because government should meet the urgency of the people it serves. As part of this agency-wide transformation, we are replacing a system from the 1980s with technology that will help Georgians faster, enhance fraud detection and prevention, and eliminate technical bottlenecks that have long impacted workers and employers alike. Migration to this new system will begin at the end of the year, and this work aligns with our long-term vision for the agency. In fall 2025, we rolled out a bold strategic plan focused on better customer experience, stronger talent and leadership, modern technology, and deeper partnerships statewide. And we shared the details of this plan with you at the committee's January 28th meeting. This afternoon, I will walk you through a brief overview of our agency's services, the budget items for fiscal year 2027, and provide an update on the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. When people think of the Georgia Department of Labor, they often think first of unemployment insurance. And while this is a critical part of our mission, it's only one piece of what we do. We serve individuals and employers at every stage through unemployment benefits, career centers located across the state, and labor market data that informs decisions from the local level to the state level. Let's see if we can get these slides moving for you. Okay. And together, these services help connect people to opportunity and ensure that Georgia remains a top state for talent and the #1 state to do business. These efforts reflect GDOL's role as both a workforce agency and a partner in Georgia's economic success. To achieve the goals outlined in our new strategic plan, the budget provides targeted funding to support our employees and key initiatives, totaling $3.2 million for fiscal year 2027. Starting on page 14, section 32 of the House track sheet, there's a total reduction of $315,813 for statewide adjustments.
15 on our, excuse me, 15 on our.
Okay. Adjustments in fiscal year 2027. These adjustments account for statewide changes in telecommunications and infrastructure billings with the Georgia Technology Authority, Georgia at Work billings, and a lawyer-employer contribution rate for the state health benefit plan within our administration and unemployment insurance programs. Line 32.1.4 reflects a reduction of $62,700 to remove funds previously allocated in the FY26 budget for one-time staffing, which was successfully implemented this past fall. And the following recommendations provide funding for critical positions needed to support unemployment insurance program activities. Line 32.3.2 recommends an increase of $1,642,557 to fund 20 additional positions dedicated to the collection of unemployment insurance contribution. We know that understaffing costs Georgia millions. With only 36 agents, GDOL recovered just 11% of $288 million in delinquent employer payments, leaving major regions such as Metro Atlanta underserved. And it's a strategic investment that pays off. Adding 20 collection agents at a cost of $1.6 million is projected to generate $11.3 million in recovered payments, penalties, and interest. This is a direct infusion into the state treasury. And so the math is clear. Funding additional collection agents delivers a strong return on investment, it strengthens Georgia's fiscal health, and it ensures that employers meet their obligations. In alignment with the agency's strategic plan, line 32.3.3 recommends funding of $1,059,178 to support 15 additional customer service representatives who will assist Georgians with inquiries related to UI claims, appeals, employer UI contributions, and other critical services. Let me tell you a little bit about our call center. Our average call time is approximately 5 minutes and 28 seconds. The current call abandonment rate is more than 30%. And our current staffing is 27 employees, of which just 14 are permanent. We receive about 14,000 calls a week to our call center. So the recommended funding will enable GDOL to expand its permanent workforce, strengthening our overall call center management and ensuring greater stability and responsiveness. In particular, the additional staff will provide critical support ahead of the UI Inspire system launch, which is expected to temporarily increase call volumes as customers adapt to the new platform. We will absolutely incorporate into the implementation long-term user training, but still a short-term surge is expected during the transition as people get familiar with the new system. The permanent positions will not only help manage that initial influx, but also enhance our long-term call center operations, reduce abandonment rates, and improve service delivery to ensure that Georgians receive reliable support well into the future. The need is urgent when it comes to our call center, and the impact is statewide, as you've seen, and the solution is staffing. Lastly, line 32.3.4 recommends an increase of $1,100,583 to fund 12 additional financial auditor positions dedicated to conducting detailed audits of employer UI contribution records. Our audit shortfalls weaken enforcement. GDOL is below the federal 1% audit threshold, which limits our ability to detect fraud, identify misclassifications, and recover funds. These additional positions will allow us to meet the federal standard and strengthen oversight. Auditors drive measurable impact through 4 key metrics. 1 is the percentage of contributory employers audited. 2, the percentage of total wages audited and adjusted. 3, the percentage of overall wages audited. And 4, average worker misclassifications identified per audit. Investing in our auditors enhances compliance, it increases collections, and it safeguards the integrity of Georgia's unemployment insurance system. This funding represents not only a commitment to meeting federal requirements, but a strategic investment in protecting state resources. And now we'll move over to the capital items included in the fiscal year 2027 governor's budget. For fiscal year 27, there is $6.7 million in capital funding included to address the agency's most pressing facilities need: the demolition, design, and construction of the downtown Atlanta Central Complex parking lot and warehouse building. This building is facing several structural issues due to long-term water damage. Concrete corrosion has compromised the parking deck used by Career Center customers and underlying warehouse structures. Water intrusion is now affecting the hallway between the warehouse and labor's data center, raising urgent concerns. And this is despite waterproofing efforts in 2010, 2023, and 2024. Despite that, damages persist due to the building's complex design. Without intervention, continued water intrusion will further compromise the integrity of the warehouse and data center spaces, as well as the parking deck connected to the Atlanta Career Center. Once underway, this work will take an estimated 18 months to complete, and our facilities team has developed a plan to mitigate disruption to the Atlanta Career Center during construction. While these investments are essential to preserving our work-ready infrastructure, it's equally critical to ensure the financial foundation of Georgia's unemployment insurance system remains strong. Over the last 20 years, the trust fund has become insolvent twice: during the Great Recession, which began in 2007, and the COVID pandemic, which began in 2020. As of the end of calendar year 2025, the trust fund balance stands at 1.99 billion, which is 1.5 billion below the U.S. Department of Labor's calculated solvency threshold of 3.5 billion. The trust fund fluctuates monthly, so it's important that when you hear me quote these numbers, we want to make sure we're giving you the latest, but they fluctuate monthly. But the average 3-month ending balance of the trust fund is $2 billion. So multiple factors continue to impact solvency, and GDOL remains committed to working closely with the governor's office and with you as members of the Georgia General Assembly to develop responsive and long-term solutions. These efforts focus on strengthening the trust fund's stability, ensuring its capacity to support Georgia's workforce, and promoting a healthier unemployment insurance system for the future. In addition to safeguarding the trust fund's long-term solvency, Labor continues to strengthen its financial stewardship through consistent revenue collections deposited with the state treasury. For fiscal year 2026, GDOL remitted $17,354,194 to the state treasury. This includes administrative assessments, penalties, and interest, an increase of $678,481 or 4% compared to the same period in fiscal year 2025. That's always a lot of information, but we want to make sure that we tie what the appropriations mean measurably for Georgians and remind and continue to educate about the work that we do. So we thank you for your time and for the opportunity to be here today. Your partnership and your leadership are essential to keeping us the #1 state for business and the #1 place to live and work. And I look forward to continuing to work alongside you throughout this session to deliver real results for the people of Georgia. It's a new era at the Georgia Department of Labor, and we're proud to move forward with you. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have one question. What's the unemployment rate in Georgia right now? I read it somewhere, but
It's 3.6%,
3.6.
about a full percentage point below the national
And
average.
you're getting 14,000
14,000
calls.
calls.
Wow. That's incredible. And you have 27
We have
in the call center?
27, 14 of which are permanent, and so the additional will really help boost that capacity.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we've got a couple of questions. Chair Lady Smith.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for your presentation and the energy you are bringing to Department of Labor. It's really refreshing. I still am asked questions by my constituents of what happened to the fraud recovery from COVID, because there's still some outstanding cases where they were victims of something. And I know I can see that your efforts and the one just previously have worked to correct that, but it was a mess. So I don't know the status of that, but I'm still asked those questions at home.
Sure. We continue our efforts to certainly prevent fraud, which is why the auditors and the agents are important, but also on the back end to recover and work through that process. You've seen news more recently about unemployment insurance fraud. So our team continues to work through our process and then also with the Office of the Inspector General to make sure that we're cooperating when these instances come up.
A quick follow-up.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you give the committee a contact person to direct these people to when they might ask us some questions?
Sure. We recently set up two things. One is a line just for you to be able to provide resources. And in that same email that we sent legislators, and we will be happy to come back and provide it to you specifically, we also sent a number that they can call.
All right, thank you.
It goes to that call center, which needs help.
Okay,
But that's the number.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Chairman Prince. I'm sorry. I've got you on.
Use.
Use next door. Try 6. There you go.
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner, for your brief. And following up on Chair Lady Smith, I think the Chief of Staff has given us her number, and I think
That's right. Jansen Head.
they've sent, yeah, that's
Yeah.
so that's the straight point of contact. You need some stuff at Department of Labor. But I want to get back to your, I think on about bullet point 32.3 and 32.4. You're talking about hiring about 27 folks. Where do we asking funding for? Where do we find these folks? Okay, I understand the customer service piece, but when you start talking auditors, financial auditors, Where do we find?
Find
And
it
I know,
in
yeah, you're DOL.
Bus labor market.
Okay, good
That's
answer.
where we
Good
find
answer.
them. And we
Good
have-
answer, but I'm not.
What's your-
Okay, good answer.
Okay.
Let's see.
And I want to say we have a great HR team. I'm going to brag on them. They were just, the Department of Administrative Services just named them one of the top 5 HR departments within state government and the only or the highest ranking tier 1 agency. So we get them from Georgia's talented, skilled, robust labor market, but we also have fantastic practices in place to really utilize and leverage our full team and our state capabilities to draw the right talent. And we're building a new department. We have new leadership guidelines. We have a new way of doing things. And so we're ensuring that as we're recruiting and retaining, that our talent aligns to those core beliefs. Thank you.
Okay, Floor Leader Gamble.
Hey, Commissioners, good to see you today. Thank you for being with us. And I may just get with you offline about this, but on your capital budget request, the $6 million to do, and I've been over to your building and I know kind of how difficult it can be to navigate that parking deck, but that's not, well, $6 million isn't going to build a new parking deck. So is it to retrofit that and then redo the storage space for,
It's a demolition.
it's a demo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's been going through this Georgia GISFIC and working with
Yes, we've
them
gone
and
through all of
facilities. Yeah.
Everybody's nodding yes. We've gone through all of the appropriate committees, departments, processes to get to a place where we could present that comfortably to OPB and now, of course, to the various committees. And it is in the governor's recommended budget. And we've had the teams over to we've not just told about what we're seeing on the ground. We've also had folks over that are decision makers on this to be able to really see what we're talking about. And their assessment was this needs to go. It is a safety hazard for Georgians. It's also an urgency with our data center, which of course powers all of Georgia's labor statistics.
Absolutely. And I'm probably going to get in trouble with Marty Smith and Gerald Pilgrim, but I just know there's a lot of extra state space with the building next door to us and then this building and what happens here when we move over across the street. And then Twin Towers has a lot of extra space in it. So I don't know how the discussion has been about future space usage, but I can talk to them about that because I had some questions about that in general. But you've answered my questions about your project in the capital
Okay.
budget.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next on the agenda is Department of Driver Services, Angelique McClendon. Welcome.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just in and keep it.
Okay,
Good
you know,
afternoon.
I hate to follow Commissioner Holmes. She has so much energy, but we do have our staff here, and I see her chief of staff is here as well. And so, you mentioned the fraud detection, so I'll talk a little bit about what we've been talking about, just kind of sort of offline about just our digital license and things like that, because that really can help with identifying who you're dealing with, whether that's in person or remotely. New commissioner, same mission statement. And I'll give you just a brief overview of our services and what we've been able to do with your considerations from the past years. And we have 9.1 million valid drivers. 400,000 of those are valid commercial drivers, which we know is very, very important. We actually, we have the digital license, and I'm sure all of you have that on your phone, the license on your phone. If you don't, I'm sure you'll have it by the time I finish talking here today. But we have here, as of the end of last year, we had almost 600,000 of those users, and right now we've surpassed 600,000. We have about 620,000 of those digital license users and holders, with 68 customer service locations throughout the state. 12 CDL commercial driver testing locations, one new one in Hazelhurst, Georgia. We served 4.1 million customers last year. 158,000 of those were through kiosks, self-serve kiosks, either in your grocery stores or inside our locations. 1.1 million were served either through e-services online or through our app. 2.9 million of those were served face-to-face. So obviously, we still have a lot of people who are coming in person, being served face-to-face, but we hear good feedback from those customers. I was just in our Atlanta location right around the street. They're packed because Tuesday is it's actually our busiest day of the week because we're closed on Mondays. But people were being served and happy in there as well. So that face-to-face interaction is still important, even though we're moving more services that you can access remotely. And again, busy days like today, like Tuesday, we can see over 16,000 people. And so our volume remains high. Our resources, we've been creative with our resources using technology like the self-serve kiosk, e-services, digital license to serve people and make our services accessible, more accessible to people, even though we are still serving quite a few of our people, the majority of them, 70% in person. So I'll get right to our requests. And so what you'll see obviously are the required adjustments for GTA infrastructure rates, DOAS insurance program, and state health benefit contributions. And so you'll see that in our 3 different programs that we have. But our requests, our increases that we're asking for is an adjustment for Georgia at Work. Projected expense is $38,000. $150,000, and we should be page 7, line item 21.1.5, and that is $150,000 for commercial driver federal mandate notifications. Obviously, there are several programs that are associated with keeping our roads safe with those 400,000 commercial drivers we have in the state of Georgia. And so to comply with those mandates, we have to send out notifications and make some computer changes, and that's what that $150,000 is for. Our next program, we have our license issuance program, which is our largest program. We have the same adjustments for GTA infrastructure, insurance, and health plan contributions. But we also we're asking for an increase just for a little over $4,000 for post-certified employer contribution. So we have 12 post-certified law enforcement officers on staff, and it varies as to which retirement program that they're on. Some are on different programs, but that's why the amount is sort of low. It looks low. But it's $4,300 that we're asking for that. We're also asking on line item, this is still page 7, line item 21.2.5, we're asking for $159,000 for lease increases at 9 different locations throughout the state. So we're not immune to rent increases with driver services, but that's 9 of our 68 locations. So continuing with our license issuance program on page 7, still on page 7, 21, line item 21.2.6, we're requesting $150,000 for armed guard services. And this is to continue our armed guard services that we currently have. We have them at 5 locations, 5 out of 68 locations throughout the state of Georgia.
Can you tell us the locations?
Yes, I can. We have them at 5 locations. It is Lithonia, Decatur, Norcross, Atlanta, and Savannah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So those are our higher volume locations. It's hard to predict where something would happen, but those 12 law enforcement officers that I mentioned, 8 of them are staffed and they report to certain locations throughout the state as well. So that helps to offset that. But those are the 5 locations that we currently have armed guard services.
Okay, thank you.
And line item 21.2.7, we are requesting $2.3 million in personal services due to decreased turnover. So it's great to have low turnover, but that also means that people stay longer, they get promoted and step increases, step raises, things like that. And so we're asking for $2.3 million to cover the personal services due to decreased turnover. Okay, still on page 7, we're asking for in line item 21.2.8, we're asking for $185,000 for GTA security services and infrastructure. And this is to comply with GTA requirements and to make sure that our cybersecurity, we just talked about physical security, but we want to make sure our cybersecurity is protected as well. So this is for things like penetration testing and infrastructure for additional staff and systems. And line item 21.2.9, at the moment, we are not asking for an increase in card production, for increased card production. And our next program, our regulatory compliance program, is our smallest program, but you'll see the required adjustments here for our regulatory compliance program. And that is all we have for today.
Okay.
In the interest of time.
I see we've got one question,
Yes.
couple of questions. Who came first? Floor Leader Gamble came first, I believe.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for your presentation. And I just will say, is it not true that I've had a very good experience in Cartersville with my 15-year-old that just got his learners last week?
Wonderful.
And my now 17-year-old that went through it about a year ago. And I was with him the whole way through. It was very easy. It was very efficient. And I got great customer service. So I just wanted to
Wonderful.
put that out there. Is that not true?
Yeah, that is certainly true. I've visited Cartersville since being commissioner. I've
Mhm.
tried to keep count of where I've been since being commissioner. But yeah, they are very, I find that when I go to the different locations, I do not announce that I'm going, I just go. But I see that, because I want to see how people's disposition,
Mhm.
actually is when they're at work. And they all seem pretty happy to serve people,
Yeah.
which is really a gift, right? To
Mhm.
be able to serve anyone who comes through the door, because not all of us could say that we would be able to do that with a smile. So I certainly know that is true, and I will pass that on to them in Cartersville, and I think we'll see them later on this week. Yeah, so we have district meeting later this week, so that is perfect timing. So thank you for that. We appreciate good news.
Floor Leader, I hope you have an equally good experience with your insurance agent also.
I was about to say, I can't help you with that, but if you can get help with that, then I would appreciate you passing along how that happened.
Chairman Tarvin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've slept since the last time I heard you speak, so you had those 5 special services needed areas. You go through a service to get those part-time,
Right, for the armed guards.
and those armed guards are all post-certified, correct?
No, they are not post-certified, because if they were, we'd probably be requesting more, more money. But we do have 12, yeah, right. So the
Yeah.
statute allows us for 30, but we are funded for 12 law enforcement
Post-certified.
post-certified officers. Right.
Thank you very much.
And our post-certified officers are, again, they're post-certified officers. Most of them have varied law enforcement experience prior to coming to us, but their main role with us is fraud investigations. But obviously, they perform other law enforcement services.
All right, Representative Reeves.
Thank you, Chairman Yurda. Commissioner McClendon, I remembered it as a lower number. Maybe it's gotten higher since then. We're working a lot on auto insurance, so I pay attention to the number of drivers.
Right.
9,101,960 drivers in Georgia.
Right, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing our best to make sure that all 9.101 million get auto insurance, because we got about 2 million right now who don't. So
Right.
Georgia
That's
House
a
is
lot.
doing something about that.
Okay. That is a lot. Now that's one thing we do Especially when you come in to take your test, you have to show proof of insurance. So, for the car, because we can't be liable. I actually had to explain that to a couple young guys at one of our locations because they didn't understand why they couldn't take the test, even though that card had expired like 2 weeks prior. So yeah, we do make sure everyone who's testing with us has insurance.
Okay, Chair Lady Smith.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And one of the points has been made periodically is that your employees, especially those who handle confidential information, have gone through extreme scrutiny. The individual's information is protected. Could you just enlarge on that
Yeah,
for a little
sure.
bit? Because at times it's been hard to find the employees you need because of that.
It is, and it's a surprisingly not fast process to get onboarded with us because once we select you, just through interview, you do go through a series of background, and that is criminal and it's also credit as well. So the thought is if you have so much delinquent credit, that makes you vulnerable to things that could happen and ideas you could have when having so much access to personal information. We have our back end system that our employees use to conduct their jobs. We actually have a monitoring system for that, so we can know who's gone into someone's record. We can audit that, and we can actually see every click as well. And so that is what we have that's preventative, and that helps us in case there is an issue. But we really do scrutinize people heavily. One thing that I mentioned when I speak to our new employees in their new employee orientation is that they're special to sit in those seats because not everyone can sit in those seats because they can't pass that criminal history, that driver history, and that credit check as well.
Thank you for making that point.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We
Thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
being with, appreciate the job you're doing,
Thank
and come again.
Well, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is Department of Revenue. Commissioner David Burge. I believe this is your first appearance before the committee. Is that correct?
It is.
Well, welcome.
I want to make sure you can hear me. I might be a little bit taller than some of my fellow speakers this afternoon.
We can hear you quite well.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Chairman Yurda and members of the General Government Subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the Governor's recommendations for the fiscal year 2027 budget for the Department of Revenue. My name is David Burge, and I'm honored to appear before you as your State Revenue Commissioner, having been sworn in by the Governor just yesterday. A privilege to assume this responsibility and to continue the important work of an agency that plays a critical role in the daily operations of state government. The Department of Revenue touches nearly every Georgian, whether through tax administration, motor vehicle services, or regulatory oversight, and we take that responsibility seriously. I look forward to working closely with this committee and the General Assembly to ensure that our agency operates efficiently, transparently, and in a manner worthy of the public's trust. My commitment is straightforward: maintain strong fiscal stewardship, implement the policy priorities of the Governor and the General Assembly, ensure our systems and personnel are equipped to deliver consistent, reliable service to all the citizens of this state. I'm joined today by Keisha Beavers, our Chief Financial Officer, and Austin Gibbons, our Chief of Staff. Without any further ado, let's turn to fiscal year 2027 and the governor's recommendations. In section 42 on page 19, we include funding to address ongoing and support maintenance costs for our ITS and drive systems, as well as increased postage costs associated with motor vehicle license plate production and distribution.
Excuse me, for the committee, that's page 20.
Our page.
That's correct.
Section 42, line 42, 6.5 on page 20. The recommendation includes $213,815 for our driver record and integrated vehicle enterprise system, or drives, and section 42, line 42.8.5, $225,128 for our integrated tax system, or ITS. These funds support the annual 3.5% support and maintenance increase under the FAST Enterprise contract and ensure continued system stability, security, and functionality to meet both legislative requirements and daily operational demands. Still within fiscal year 2027, on section 42, line 42.6.6, the recommendation includes $102,546 to address increased postage costs associated with the production and mailing of motor vehicle tags, decals, registration cards, and temporary operating permits. Georgia Correctional Industries has served as the department's primary supplier of these materials since 2015. Each year, GCI submits documentation requesting adjustments related to postage and the producer price index. For fiscal year 2027, the funding reflected in this item addresses only the postage increased cost. That concludes my overview of the governor's recommendations for the Department of Revenue. We support the governor's recommendations and appreciate the committee's time and consideration, and stand ready to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Okay, Commissioner, you did a great job. No questions, so we
right.
appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you much.
Congratulations on your position. All right, committee, I want to thank Danny Nicholas. Danny's new to this committee this year, and I'm very happy to have her, and she does a very good job of keeping me straight up here. So thank you, Danny. And if there's any other business, if there's none, yes, she does. She does, no doubt. Well, thank you, Danny. If there's no other business, we stand adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.